You're listening to the StudioPTBO podcast, where we talk all things marketing to help you build and grow your business online. Welcome to the latest episode.
Well, welcome to StudioPTBO podcast. We are back, and we are back with Zoom. This is the first Zoom recording that we've done, not in the studio. Well, Neil's in the studio. I'm here in my kitchen, and we are just talking today about really the landscape of e-commerce, the landscape of lead generation, like email marketing, all that good stuff. And you know, if you're listening to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, you'll probably won't hear as crisp audio right now. And the reason that is because we are recording this through Zoom and we are not in the studio. We don't have a video guy. Neil, how you doing today?
I'm all right, man. It's, as you said, different times, different world, different era we're in right now. And it's here to stay with us for the short term, long term. We don't know how long this is going to go. And it'll be, I was saying before the show started with Chris, that it was a different world if we'd had him on a week ago than now, like a completely different world. So we're going to cover that with him today. And I mean, we're early in the game here in terms of knowing how this is all going to go, how it's all going to shake down. But history will tell us soon. But yeah, no, we're looking forward to meeting Chris today. I've never met him. I know you can give context for your relationship with Chris and how you guys met.
Yeah, I think, I'll give a little bit of context, and then Chris, I'll kind of hand it over to you. So Chris and I connected through Cat Howell's Academy. We were like one of the few people that hopped on like all of Stan Way's trainings, his sales training, to really better identify how we can essentially become better at sales, better at marketing, just understand the sales process, the two-call sales process that Stan teaches. And there was a few people that were in the academy that kind of went through a 12-week period. I went through 12 weeks. I'm not sure, you can speak to that after. I went through a 12-week period with the academy that essentially just helped us refine processes, learn about the industry, learn about how to hire, systems, processes, everything that we've been chatting about over the last year. And Chris and I have formed a pretty good friendship over the past year where, it's like we focus solely on lead generation in the Facebook ad space, and he's really focused on e-commerce. And there's a lot of overlap in our businesses, but we became really good friends over the last year. But that's kind of, I guess, the overview on how I met Chris. Chris, maybe you can give us a Spark Notes version on kind of who you are, what your agency does, and essentially who you help.
Sure. So my name is Schneider. Like you said, we met in the academy. I run an agency here in Cleveland, Ohio called Duo. We started off specializing in WordPress builds and branding exercises, but quickly we started to realize, and really the reason that we got into Cat Howell's program was because we were having that roller coaster, right? And we weren't set up for if a client left. We weren't set up for any of those things. So after getting into that program and making that investment, all of a sudden we realized very quickly, like, we need to change everything. And we started our company in 2012, right? So like, this wasn't new by the time like last summer came around, but by the time as soon as we started in the academy, we realized very quickly, like, okay, we got to make a lot of changes. We need to make them fast. And we did. And, I think they're really helping us, especially with everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, man. Everything that's going on right now, for people that are maybe listening to the replay or listening to this right now, we are in a pandemic. World Health Organization classified this as a pandemic. Very weird time, but often in the time of adversity, there's often opportunity, and that's kind of what we want to chat about today. In the Facebook ad space and in the building of websites and taking businesses online. So I'm really curious to know kind of like, what has your business done to date in order to kind of pivot in this very weird remote time? Like, we have a staff that works in-house that we're doing daily huddles with, and it's like I suggested that probably 6 months ago that we start doing daily huddles, and like it's kind of like, it's weird because now I'm kind of getting my way. So I'm curious to know, like, what have you kind of guys been like implementing in your business even now? Because I'm seeing people freak out like in the online space and like Facebook ad space. It's like, what do you guys? You have a business partner. It's like, what have you guys been doing in order to kind of keep a positive mindset, make sure that, your contractors are taken care of, and people are taken care of, but also your clients?
Yeah. So Oh man, there's a lot. So when we founded this company, this is 2012. We had a strong belief that we did not need an office. Like, we were very anti-office from the start. The trick is, it was very difficult at that time, right? Slack wasn't even made yet, I don't think, or at least it wasn't big. Zoom wasn't big. Loom. I mean, all of the programs and the pieces of software that we use, none of those things were huge yet. So it was pretty difficult during that period. But we kind of soldiered on. I think at the time we're using like Basecamp and Harvest and all these, 10,000 different pieces of software. And so as technology evolved, we kept evolving with it, because we did feel like we don't need to have an office space, right? So I think it was 2016, we got into our office space. Small place. I mean, we're talking like 500 square feet. This thing's the size of like, a really big bedroom. But what it did all of a sudden was legitimize us to local leads. And so people could see like, oh, they have an office. Cool. I want to work with them. Yeah. Nothing changed about our business. We just had a door you could walk through instead of like meeting in a coffee shop. So people certainly appreciated that. So as far as a fall off that's happened with the COVID-19 thing, we really haven't had one. We actually went into the office earlier this week. I don't even know what day it is. You're just kind of getting through every day right now. I went into the office and I got every bit of like the studio equipment that we could have. So all of our audio recorders, I think I have 4 different cameras here. I've got lights, I've got everything. I even brought my like big monitor home, because I usually just work on my laptop whenever I'm home. So, I have a much more like, bigger workstation than I normally would have. But from a day-to-day standpoint, we haven't missed a beat. You have daily stand-ups. We have weekly check-ins on all of our projects. We have Slack that allows us to real-time communicate with all of our team. And we have contractors that are in England. We have contractors that are in New York City. We have contractors that are scattered all over Ohio. So everyone's kind of on different time zones, and that's obviously a little bit difficult. But we always make sure there's some sort of middle ground overlap with all of us at the same time. So like stuff like that helps quite a bit. And we also break out some of our check-ins with some of our team, like the 2 that are over in England. We actually just check in with them separately, because we know that their time is a little bit different. So so I think what's going to end up happening, and I think, not that I love to play like, okay, who's winning, who's losing right now, but like if you look at what Zoom has done, all of a sudden there's such a huge Zoom like increase, right? People that have never heard of it before, like they'll send like snaps or something with like a bunch of their friends on a Zoom call. And they're like, this thing is the coolest thing ever. And it works so well. And so it's like, I'm so happy to see some of those pieces of technology that we've loved for so long finally getting maybe some of the recognition that they certainly deserve.
Mm-hmm. Just hope this shit doesn't crash, because everyone's on it now. I know.
Yeah. It's really brought us together, Cody? Because we do have a close-knit family, and it really has, like you said, forced us to have these daily huddles. And if we ever do get back to normal, and God forbid we will someday, we're going to do it in the office every day, because we know of other companies who do that, even 10, 15-minute quick daily like checkpoints, like what's everyone up to. So, but you're right, Zoom is in the zeitgeist right now. It's like baby boomers are discovering, and I'm seeing it in TikToks. It's like last night. It's funny. I used to live in Toronto for years, and I played with in what's called the LBA, Leaside Basketball Association, we called it. And I got to reconnect with all my old guys last night, because I can't get up to Toronto as much anymore. And we just did a Zoom thing. We all had pints online and just caught up. And it is a form of reconnecting in this social distancing phase, which could last a long time. It's so business and personal is what you're saying, Chris. It's fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. So we, sorry to hop in as well. But we also started hosting virtual happy hours too, and we're inviting all of our clients to it as well. So like I treat those as like, let's just connect as humans, and not like, I don't want to talk necessarily about projects. I don't want to talk about like the work that we have to do. We have our check-ins with our clients. We have all of our stand-ups with our staff. This is, so, the way we used to throw like one big happy hour every summer, but who knows if that's going to actually be able to happen this year. So what we started to do is say, okay, what we're going to do is like weekly happy hours, and it's just kind of an open invite. And you get a lot of people that show up and they're just like, they're going crazy. They're going stir crazy. So if that gives them the opportunity to connect and just kind of be a human for a little bit and interact with people outside their house.
Love it, man. Cody literally just suggested that this morning. Hey, Cody, in our meeting that we should do a pint every Friday at 4 or something like that. And it really is good because mental health's going to weigh on people, right? I'm an extrovert by nature, so this is driving me crazy. Like
we're 5 days in and I'm already stir crazy.
I know. Like I go out every week, go to speak at networking events and do this and that. Like Cody's the same. It's going to be hard, man. And this is going to be prolonged. So Zoom is really going to be the way to keep us together and be a real mental health check for all of us, right? Yeah. Introverts are loving this, but
yeah, exactly. Introverts are absolutely loving this, but like, you know, I'm like not doing well so far. So, you know, we'll get there, but I kind of want to shift. You go ahead. I kind of want to shift to, go ahead. I'll let you go.
Yeah, no,
this is a lot harder on Zoom than it is like when we're actually like together.
Yeah, we do our face to face, so we can tell who's going to. But I'm wondering, Chris, like why? Because I'm hearing other industries are falling off a cliff pretty quickly. Why are you so far, and knock on wood, unscathed? What is it about e-com? Why is your sector safe?
Well, right now, logistics haven't been shut down, right? So the supply chain, for the most part, is still intact for a lot of the e-commerce stores that we work with. I'm not saying that's everyone. I know a lot of drop shippers that were getting their stuff directly from China. Like there was a huge fall off there. They weren't shipping anything out. I think that has since started back up. But also what's happening too is screen time is going through the roof, right? Like what else are you doing? You're passing the time. You're either looking for news updates on like what is going on, what should I be preparing for, or you're just kind of scrolling. There's been a lot of purchases that have happened in our household, at least where we're like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have bought that before, but you're kind of stir crazy, and you just people are looking. I think especially for all of us extroverts out there that love to interact with people, but people are looking for something that's going to make them feel good right now, right? And whether it's a pair of sunglasses or it's whatever your e-commerce store is selling, some clothes or whatever it is, like some of those things are going to be that like little bit of like just sunlight to you in such a dark time. And so I think that's why e-com is still doing really well. In fact, like our biggest e-com account has over doubled their sales this month already compared to last month. And they're selling pretty high ticket stuff. But we're also in stateside, we're also right in like income tax time, and people just love to spend that stuff. So I don't know. I can't give the exact answer, but my guess is screen time is up, and people are looking for stuff to not only entertain them but make them feel good too.
I'll definitely echo the screen time thing. Like, and maybe you can speak to this from an e-commerce standpoint, but CPMs are dropping like crazy. For people that are listening to the podcast that don't know what that is, it's cost per measure, cost per 1,000 impressions. And I don't know if you're seeing that, but I'm seeing our cost per lead drop. I'm seeing obviously people like aren't necessarily taking, you're seeing in the e-com space, people are, specifically with that client, the cost, the revenue generated is increasing. But what are you seeing from a Facebook ad standpoint in the online space, like from an analytical?
Yeah, I mean, CPMs are way down. I think there's just more people using at all times of the day, right? Yeah. The people that, I don't know, whether it's factory workers or what they're calling here non-essential personnel, right? Maybe it was someone that worked in a restaurant or a bar. All of a sudden they find themselves unemployed right now. And so a lot of them are just kind of searching, whether it's for jobs or they're just kind of browsing like we kind of do in 2020 as humans. It's natural to just kind of flick through your phone when you're bored. I mean, how many times have you watched a movie and then brought out your phone at the same time? So like CPMs are way down. I think our click-through rates are jumping high. Like everything seems to be just kind of elevating. And there's part of me that as the advertiser and the marketer is like, man, I'm an entrepreneur in the fact that like I love the opportunity, right? I love when there's opportunity, but I also am not a snake. So it's like I'm never going to be like trying to sell like the masks or like any of that stuff. Like none of that's going to happen. But we're certainly trying to scale with our clients still as much as they're comfortable scaling. And right now it's working still.
Yeah. We've increased our ad spends because all these big giant players are dropping out of the industry. Like I literally, like as I'm going, I just realized our biz dev just booked a call with the realtor from somewhere. And it's like all these big players are literally dropping out of the market, dropping their ad spends. And I don't know if you're seeing that as well, but I'm seeing that on the like Academy Mastermind, that people are like, oh my God, like people are dropping out. And I'm seeing marketers that I've never seen before in my Facebook feed. Like, it's just such an interesting time to be a marketer in regards to like opportunity. So I'm really curious right now, like, you know, because there seems to be this line that happens, and I want to get your way in, and I want to get Neil's way in on this. You know, some people are saying that, oh, we shouldn't sell in this time. You know, like I'm like, this is a very hot topic right now. And I'm seeing guys like, we had Alex Sharfan on the podcast in the past, where he talks about now is the time. If you're an entrepreneur, like if you do anything about the economy, it's like, you know, we need entrepreneurs to sell right now in order to keep the economy afloat. So curious to know kind of what your perspective is on that, Chris. And I'm gonna get you to weigh in as well, Neil.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think now is the time to sell. I think what you have to do though, is you have to think about it a lot different, right? You have to really focus in on the ethics of what you're asking. For instance, we have one of our clients has, you know, like a financing model because they're a high ticket item. So they have this kind of pay per month deal. And we were writing email copy for them for an email that's going to go out to about 100,000 people. And so we had to rework that entire email because there's parts of it that were like, hey, are you stuck in a really hard place right now? Use our financing. I'm like, yeah, we can't really say that. You know, maybe we just kind of tweak some messaging and soften things a little bit. And the big thing for us is like, we have found a lot of success in just being very real and very authentic in the sales process now more than ever. When you're going through something like this, and I can't say that I've ever gone through something like this before, but when you hopefully follow the right people or study enough or watch the trends of what's happening, you really realize that if you take the ethical approach to it and you're getting your bids at a lower cost and your click-through rates going way up, like these are good things in terms of, you know, when you're running ads and digital ads and trying to sell stuff, you just need to be careful. I mean, we do social media management. I've had to have my team go through the entire calendar to like look through every single post. Let's make sure there's not a post that's out of place. Let's make sure there's nothing that is, you know, kind of towing that weird line. And so just going about it that way, being a human, having compassion for a lot of people that are struggling right now, I think is the key. And yeah, just don't be a snake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think, go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, I would echo what Chris said, and I'm not going to be redundant because I would have said all the same stuff as him, but really just being more thoughtful and practicing more empathy than ever. We're already like that, and it seems like you are too, Chris. You share our ethos and sensibility that we have to do what's best for our clients and customers, and we don't want to sell just for the point of selling. That's not why I got into this world of agency. We want to help people. We really do want to help people. And I think that has to be top of mind. You have to look at everything you do to avoid right now being shamed or piled on and be cognizant of that. So I love that you're saying you went back into everything that you had done in the past because it's a completely new world right now. And I literally said this morning at staff meeting, I'm going to be sending new lines to our team because we design graphics for social media that have to translate in the new world because a lot of the stuff they did in the old world doesn't really work anymore.
Nope. So your marketing is getting ignored. Like we're literally running an ad right now that like literally says, you know, like there's 4 challenges that you're facing right now. There's fear and there's panic that's happening in the world. The marketing you did in the past is getting ignored. People aren't clicking through on old marketing because it doesn't apply. Now, one thing I will mention is in Facebook ads, anyone listening to this, if you're a marketer or you're a business owner, please, for the love of God, do not put COVID-19 in your ads. Like the word COVID-19 in your ads. I'm seeing that happen so much right now, and your ad account is going to get banned. It is. Like ad accounts are getting shut down right now because people are just being...
The smart thing to do is to reference the area you're in without having to use that.
You don't have to. You don't have to
know what's happening. You don't need to put that hashtag on everything. And it's the context of the time, right to the world we're in, which is going to be with us for years to come until they find a vaccine. And it could be years. What I'm curious about, and both of you can answer this, is mindset and resilience. Let's talk about this, because we already talked about that in the old world, which was a great world to be in now, even better than we thought it was.
Yeah, take me back to 2019.
Right.
All this 2020 talk, and like,
we thought we sort of had it tough there even as entrepreneurs. But walk me through, like, Chris, you have kids, you have 3 kids, a wife, you're all at home right now. Cleveland's probably a ghost town like everywhere else right now. Now more than ever, you have to have that resilience and that mindset. How are you coping with this? Have you always been like this? Are you having to do like exercises, meditation? Like, how are you getting through this? I mean, business is still great, but your life has changed dramatically.
Yeah. I mean, everything has changed. I think the one thing that I'm trying to keep in mind is just having the grace for other people as well. So if I message someone, if I email someone and I don't hear back from them, you know, in the old world, if it were a couple hours, I'd be like, hey, what's going on? Where are you? Like, this is working hours. But now, like, you just have to understand that everybody's situation is completely different. Everyone is turned upside down right now. They're all trying to figure this out, right? So I don't know. I've always been a little bit of an optimistic person, right? I've always seen the glass half full. I've always been about that. And I think it's showing now more than ever. But also for me, like, I don't know, I have a good way of kind of analyzing situations and finding like good paths to go down, right? So like, as soon as this happened, the very first thing I start thinking of is, okay, like, I can't just like close up and be done and go get a job somewhere. A, the jobs aren't going to exist right now. And then B, like, I've built this for too long and I have too much love into this agency to just kind of let it wither away. Right. And so that's when we started to really come up with new ideas and then, watching trends and seeing like, actually ad spend is pretty cheap right now. And, you know, kind of navigating those waters has been easy for me. I started to make a little bit more of an effort, at least this past week, to get up early to exercise. I've been doing that anyway, but I've really tried to focus in on that, because what I found is when I get through my day and kids are home, we're trying to, you know, educate them and trying to like continue their like preschool, because that you just don't want to like put movies on all day.
Yeah.
And my wife's a teacher, so like it very much so is like very important. But getting up really early and then honestly staying up late. It's not ideal to get a little bit of sleep, but if I can get a couple hours in the morning and a couple hours in the evening where I can really just focus in and feel productive, then the mess that happens in the middle of the day is kind of erased. And
because any entrepreneur has to follow routine, but your routine is probably shifted dramatically now, being home with 3 kids. So as much structure as you need in your life, you have to find a new rhythm and a structure now in the new world. You could be there for months, like in the same way we could be here for months. So you're finding that rhythm, but you managed to pivot pretty quickly to figure out. Yeah. So
just try to figure it out. It's still floating. Luckily my wife and I are good at kind of trying to find the balance, and you know, there's speed bumps, but communication is key between me and my wife, and then me and my business partner. Like I've had to tell them multiple times, like, I'm sorry, I'm doing everything I can right now to try to just keep up and keep my head above the water.
Yeah.
But as long as the work that we're doing is still helping our clients succeed, then no matter how I get there, I'm okay with it.
Like it.
Yeah, and like, you know, kind of echo what you're saying, like with the mindset and resilience and the routine and the habits. Like, I recently went to see Brendon Burchard, so I use his high performance planner, and it's like I'm literally like trying to keep everything mapped out throughout the day. So it's like going through his morning mindset, going through his evening ritual, like today's message to myself, my top 3 priorities and goals that I have to accomplish. Like if I can't change that, like, you know, and I know Neil echoes that like as well, but like, I'm just trying to, like, when I wake up in the morning, I find more than ever, if I don't meditate first thing in the morning, it throws my entire day off. Like when I'll be completely honest with everyone on this podcast, my Monday and Tuesday this week was shit. Like I had a ton of anxiety and I was not centered. And I just, on Wednesday, one of my really good friends and one of my mentors, like, literally sat me down and he said, like, you're showing a ton of anxiety right now, and this isn't like you. And it kind of gave me like kind of like a shake up call where it's like, people need you more than ever now to be a leader, and that's the biggest thing. It's like your clients need you to be a leader. Your family needs you to be a leader. Your team needs you to be a leader. It's like more than ever, people are looking for stability and calm in this moment. And I think that if we can really do that as marketers, and we can really do that as agency owners and with team, it's like, how can you be the centered and calm in the midst of the storm? Because there is a storm that's happening right now. So if you can really center yourself in like teach yourself more than ever. And I've been going through this over the last 6 months, and I was just literally at the Brendon Burchard conference, learned a ton. And he talks a lot about being centered amidst the storm. And that's what I think, our people and our industry and our niches need from us. They need us to be leaders. They need us to be strong in the midst of the storm. And like, I love what you said about the routine. It's like sticking to that daily routine and those daily habits, because me and Neil were talking about this earlier on today about the idea of forecasting. It's like, we still need to forecast where we're headed and where we're going. Like, just because there's craziness that's happening in the world right now, which is nuts, and there's a pandemic happening, and we're in a recession, and the stock market, and in the midst of that, it's still like you still have to focus on your dream and your vision. Like, where are you headed? Like, what does 2021 look like? It's like, we can't forget about that. We can't forget about the vision. We can't forget about where we want to take our businesses. So I'm really curious to know, Neil, like, what are you doing to stay resilient in a time of crisis?
Pretty good mindset about it. See, my world's a bit different than you guys in that I run a media company too. So I'm all consumed with, I'm getting inundated. I run a hyper-local website called ptbocanada.com, Chris. It's kind of like a BuzzFeed for local, but we've kind of become this go-to place for information right now, more than ever, because we're in basically wartime era, right? It's like, it's feast and famine for a lot of people, and a lot of, homeless people or people with food insecurity aren't getting the stuff that they were getting in the good world. And even then they were low. So it's all consuming for me. So I'm finding it a little bit difficult balancing both businesses now. And I have 2 girls at home. One's had to leave university. The other one's done grade 12 for the year, basically working online. There's a lot of stuff weighing in. And to Cody's point, I have a lot of resilience. So I do pretty well with mental health. I try and exercise every day. I have generally good attitude, but it's not easy. It's not easy right now. This is the biggest obstacles I've ever faced. But at least we are all in it together, as cliche as it sounds, and that's kind of helping, right? That I feel like we found our tribe. Like, Chris is in our tribe, Cody's in my tribe. I have good people in my life that are really good sounding boards that will send me a text or kind words, or I'll check in on them, and I feel like that's really helping that we will get through this. But it's hard, man. It's hard. I'm trying to have the same routine. I still come into the office most days. I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
If I had 3 young kids like you, Chris, I can't imagine when 9/11 happened. I'm a lot older than you guys. I wish younger. I had 2 young girls I had to deal with, but now they're pretty, self-sufficient, independent. But I'm trying to keep my habits as much as I can. I don't want to let my guard down. I want to keep going. And, like Cody said, it's a new world, but we still have to run a business. What if the depression was 10 or 20 years, or the recession? We'd still be running a business, right? The economy still has to work. So, yeah, the answer to that is just doing the best I can. But mindset, it really is everything. Yeah. People who have a glass half empty outlook on life, it's going to be a hell of a struggle for them right now. And I empathize with that. So,
yeah. And I like what you said, like, there was a key moment in that where you said, it's like you found your tribe. And I think more than ever, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you need to find your tribe. You need to find the people that are going to lift you up in the time of crisis. This is so important. I chatted about this in the past, and, I'm finding different things that, I used to speak about in the past really coming up like inside of me, and like really helping people understand that you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if, more than ever, you need to find a way in the online space, in the digital space, to get around people that are innovative, people that are passionate, people that are seeing glass half full, in the online space, where it was like, it's becoming almost easier in the online space now, because these groups that are popping up, like the Wim Hof method, If you're not familiar with that, it's a Facebook group, and it's like just all about breathing techniques. And there's like 135,000 people in this free Facebook group that is just talking about breathing techniques, and they're really supporting each other in this Facebook group, and like Stan's in it.
Yeah, we're starting next week a fireside chats just to bring the community entrepreneurs together. We're not selling them anything. It's just kind of like a support group. Like, how's everyone going? Kind of like what we're doing with Chris right now.
Yeah.
Like, what's up? What are you thinking? How can we help? And I'm loving that. So I needed that tribe. Like, thank God I'm not hanging out with a bunch of people who are negative, like Nellies, or it would be really hard on the mental health for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this was great. Like, this was awesome opportunity to sit down and chat. And I feel like we provided our community a ton of value, and it was great to learn kind of what you're doing, Chris, in the south of the border. I'm just glad there's no snow right now. Like that would
Chris, is LeBron James still yours? Like, he's Akron, Ohio boy. Like, do people miss him there? Do they still, or is he like?
No, they definitely miss him. The Cavs are in the bottom of the East, and it's painful to watch sometimes. But they miss him. I mean, we watched him raise up, and when he was in high school, it was all anybody talked about. We knew a couple of friends that went to high school with him, so it's just like it was overwhelming from the time I was 16. And then all the way through when he went to Miami and broke our hearts, came back and won us all back over again, won the championship. I remember our two girls, we went to the championship parade, and our one was 6 months old. And we were changing diapers on the sidewalk because we're like, I am not missing this moment, right? Like, we don't know if this will ever happen again. So thankful for the championship that he brought. Thankful for all the work that he continues to do, though. That's the big thing. He
has a school there, right?
The I Promise
underprivileged
school.
kids.
The I Promise school is incredible. They do a lot of amazing things. I think they just sent 100 students to Akron University full ride. So yeah, it's awesome. I hate that he's in LA, but hey, we got our share, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're lucky to have him while you did. And as I said to you before the show, thank goodness he left Cleveland. So we got out of the East, the Raptors.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Now this year we're not going to be able to probably see the Lakers beat the Raptors, so that's unfortunate.
No, but we're still reigning champs, man.
I know, yeah.
A couple of years in a row.
It was awesome to meet you, man. Like, let's stay connected. I know you and Cody are, and you met through Stan and what's her name?
Kat.
Great. Speaking of being part of your tribe, like Brendon Burchard now, Cody's really been building his tribe over the last few years, and it's made a world of difference to him. And that's why, like you said, Cody, you had a bad day Monday and Tuesday, but you're back on Wednesday. Whereas once upon a time might have taken you weeks to recover. Now it's
100%. It's like, and I kind of want to end the podcast with this, where it's like, you need to find the people that lift you up more than ever. And you just need to be honest and real about how you feel now more than ever, because I had that conversation with one of the people that are really close to my inner five people. And he just said, he's like, like, you're not being yourself. You're uptight, you're antsy, and I can tell that you're understand, like, we're in crisis, but it's like, if you can find a way to get around people that really help center you, it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you for everyone who is listening back to the replay or listening now. Thank you for tuning in the Studio PTBO podcast. If you're not a part of the Studio PTBO Marketing Hacks group, now more than ever, we'd love to see you on the inside of the Studio PTBO Marketing Hacks group. Like I mentioned, one of the biggest things Neil mentioned is we're launching fireside chats every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Inside of there, we're going to chat business, we're going to chat economy, marketing, really try to provide massive value to you and your business during this weird time that we're going through, and really want to see your business thrive and come back even stronger. So join us in the Studio PTBO Marketing Hacks group. The link is below. Thank you for tuning into the Studio PTBO podcast. We will see you soon.